all of this right now with my next guest. Ivon Sampson, who's an immigration lawyer, joins us once again. Good afternoon to you, Ivon.
Hi, Julia.
Lovely to speak to you. I want to talk to you about Ireland as well, but what do you make of the Home Office losing contact with thousands set for Rwanda flights? Let's give the details. So they've got 5,700 that they were planning to put on the list. I don't think anyone ever thought they were going to even send 5,700 to Rwanda or anywhere else. But only 2,145 of them continue to report to the Home Office and can be located for detention. That means the remaining 3,500 plus, they say, have not necessarily absconded, but they're not subject to reporting restrictions, which means they cannot be located for detention. I don't understand this, because if we're paying these people, what, £49 a week, and we're paying for their accommodation, surely we know where they are, don't we? Or are we no longer paying for that, in which case, oh, well, at least it's a bit cheaper for us. When people haven't absconded but are not missing, what do you think that means?
I think I've got to have a balanced approach. I mean, I'm always attacking the Home Office, but I have a little bit of sympathy for them on this situation because there's different types of reporting. Not everyone has to report identically. So if you're staying with a family member, for example, you may well be reporting digitally, or you may be reporting once a month, or not at all. It just depends on...
Sorry, can I just stop you there? So there are people who've arrived here as illegal migrants, and they're getting money every day. They've been given accommodation or help with accommodation, you know, and they don't have to basically report in.
No, that's not true. So when they get NAS support, they do. It's when they're staying with family members who are supporting. Not everyone claims benefit from the government. Quite often you'll find family members supporting an asylum seeker. So that in that situation, they may well be reporting monthly, for example. So there's different types of reporting. But what I don't understand is if you're going to detain people, the first thing you do is not give them pre-warning that you're going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be...
didn't make sense.
I think there are kids in primary school who would have worked that one out. And yet, now, is this the Home Office just being utterly incompetent as always? Or is this just, it was obvious perhaps who these people would be if you came in within a certain period? Was it between January 2022, June 2023, you're going to be on that list? So people worked it out between themselves, people talk to each other, the lawyers talk to each other who are representing these people. Or is it that actually Home Office staff trying to scupper this policy by giving advance notice? Because I no longer trust. I no longer trust that the Home Office staff are actually working on the side of the British people.
No, I don't think that. I don't know the answer to that, but I'd be surprised if trying to scupper their own policy. What you did.
Well, hold on a minute. We've got the Civil Service Union, First Division Association, putting in a legal challenge saying we can't possibly send anyone to Rwanda. We think it's against international law. We can't be expected to do that. Oh, come on.
This has happened before. Do you remember the arresting people that were coming across the boat, making it a criminal offence? Do you remember that policy?
Yeah.
And do you remember the civil servants wanted to have protection and from the government, from prosecution? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Well, this is all over again because everybody knows, anyone who understands the law will tell you this, the Rwanda Act is a breach of our international obligations under the European Convention on Human Rights and the Refugee Convention as well. We all know that.
Well, hold on a minute. So, but how come that would be the case? But Ireland seem to think, well, I think they're going to want to pass a new law in their country as well, emergency legislation, that they can send people who've come from France, well, from numerous other countries first, to France, crossed the Channel, come to the UK, travelled over from the British mainland to Northern Ireland, and then we're told 80% of those arriving or not claiming at a port or an airport. They're claiming, you know, in Dublin city centre, you know, that they've come over on a land border, i.e. from Northern Ireland, that they should be able to send them back. Wouldn't that be equally illegal?
It would. Had those people come from France, they could be sent back. Coming from the UK, they can't. We don't have a return.
If they came directly from France to Ireland, then they could be sent back.
They could be sent back, yes, but not from the UK. So, but it shows...
We need to get these people better dinghies.
Well, we need to get countries talking and working together.
Why aren't they doing that now? Because...
Well,
look,
I don't, to be honest, as a non-politician, I don't understand it, because Ireland and the UK should be working together to formulate a policy instead of just pushing the problem away onto someone else's.
But that's what France. But France has been. Look, Greece and Italy don't want to keep all these people. They're quite happy for them to all go off to France. France is quite happy for them to get to Calais and then come to the UK. We're quite happy for them to all sod off to Ireland. Let's be honest, that we are. And now it's Ireland's problem. But this is the thing. I don't wish this on the Irish people. But well, it's your government. Now it's up to you to to deal with it. But the reality is, if all of those governments work together, largely EU governments, and took people back and stop people from making some of these rather risible claims, then we wouldn't have this problem in the first place. There wouldn't be camps of people in Calais trying to get to the UK if France agreed to take every single Channel migrant back, because they'd know there's no point paying $3,000 to someone to be back on the same beach in the afternoon.
Correct. And if we had an agreement with France and people
France
knew
won't
that
give us an agreement. They won't take them.
Yes, we've had this conversation before.
I know.
You say
it hasn't changed.
You say that. I don't think that's the case. I don't think the government are telling us what the French want. The French, of course, they were in the Dublin Convention before. So, and it would act as a deterrent, because if you're going to get sent back to France,
there's no point.
Why would you? Why would you send them?
But France wouldn't have so many people travelling through France. One of the reasons why they leave France is not because they're desperate and fleeing for their lives. It's because they're not getting decent, the same sort of level of benefits. I know it's not a life of Riley, but it's better than the life a lot of these people have come from in poverty-stricken countries. That's what they're economic migrants. But they've got a better chance of having a better life here in the UK than they have in France. But they wouldn't be travelling through France if they couldn't get onto the boats here and didn't have a chance of staying here. So France can solve the problem partly for themselves. You know, and I know, and everyone watching, listening to this know, the reason why that France isn't acting is because they're still punishing us for Brexit.
They want a deal. I'm convinced of it. We just need to send the right person to France to get that deal across the line. Who's
the right person? Is it Keir? Well, this idea that if only Keir Starmer or Yvette Cooper was having this conversation, for some reason, all of our Home Secretaries, all of our Prime Ministers and regimes are completely incapable of doing a deal. This is nonsense. Macron doesn't want to do a deal.
Deals are done off camera. I'm afraid it's not.
They've had plenty of meetings. Priti Patel had meetings. Suella Braverman had meetings. James Cleverly's having meetings.
It's not working with.
So why is it going? Who's it going to suddenly work with? Who should we send? I mean, I don't know. Who's a good deal maker? I mean, deal or no? I mean, Noel Edmonds. Let's send Noel Edmonds. I mean, who are we sending to do this deal? Who is miraculously going to persuade the French to start actually taking migrants back to then stop them coming across?
Everyone's going to benefit all the way back to where they
Yeah, everyone's going to benefit. So who do you think's going to... You're saying we just need to do the right deal, needs to be the right person. Who?
We need a change of management is what we need.
You're saying a Labour minister. Genuinely, it's going to be hilarious to watch. There are two options, and both of them are going to be insulting and hilarious to the British people. One is the Labour government gets in and gets exactly the same treatment from Emmanuel Macron. And the other is... suddenly, Emmanuel Macron changes his mind, which shows us that he could have done it all along and he was punishing
what we know
a Tory
is
Brexit
that the
government.
Home Office is incompetent. We know that from the half a dozen policies. And their policies are make an announcement and let's see if it works afterwards. I mean, they've done this consistently over the last 2 to 3 years. I can reel off the announcements that they've done. And it's just simply they're not competent. The civil servants are not working effectively with the ministers. The system's broken. We have a crisis. Can
I just say, how dare the civil servants not work effectively with the minister? It's in the job title, servant. They are the servant to the British people and to their elected representatives and ministers. Who the bloody hell do Home Office civil servants think they are to not work productively with the democratically elected government of the day?
Those have got a conscience. Those are the civil servants.
Sod off, got a conscience. If they don't like it, don't work at the Home Office. It's not their conscience that's been elected. It's the conscience of the British people.
If somebody asked me to break international law, and I knew as a lawyer...
No. It's not just about international law.
And I was asked to break international law.
Rubbish.
As a lawyer,
they're not doing the most... Ivon, they're not doing the most basic parts of their job in terms of actually going through the basic policies that instigated and have the support of the British people.
We have a crisis. We haven't got secure borders. We can't control borders across the channel. That needs to be addressed. But before anything else, We need to make sure that our border force is protecting our borders. They are not doing that. It's determined by the weather, Julia. That's what's determining how many people are coming across, not the efficiency and the strategies of the border force. It's whether we have a calm sea. That will tell you whether people are going to come across or not.
Ivon, this is madness. Immigration lawyer Ivon Sampson, thank you very much indeed.